Oh la la. Fish, and more fish. And fish eggs of two different kinds. That's right, because sea urchin technically is both an egg and a gonad at the same time. Please don't at me with lots of questions. We'll talk about it later. Today we're doing a sort of a do-it-at-home, easy, fast variety of sushi that could not be more popular these days if you tried. It's called Temaki. Welcome to AZ Cooks Instagram Live Edition. I am Andrew Zimmern. Thanks to the good people at Shun Cutlery and the good people at Flor de Caña Rum, we are able to come to you every Thursday with a fantastic recipe, a great demonstration, your questions, lots of laughs, sometimes me singing, oftentimes me swearing, but we are going to do something really cool today that is so popular at home. And I actually got this idea to do this right now because I've seen so many people struggling with it online and so many questions and so many people coming into my feed on other forms of social media saying, how do I get this right? How do I do the do-it-at-home sushi thing the right way? And it's really pretty simple. The answer is Temaki. So what is Temaki? Temaki is a hand roll. So what does that mean? Traditionally, Temakis have been, you're sitting in a sushi bar, someone hands you a cone of nori, which is paper made with compressed sea laver, right? Really simple. You've all seen this stuff if you like Japanese food. Those black sheets of paper, right? Seaweed. So you roll the nori in a cone and hand it to someone. Another form of temaki has been the open hand roll, where it's simply a piece is cut from these bigger sheets and a roll with a little rice or even not rice put around and handed to you. That's a form of temaki, because temaki is just a general word for any type of hand roll. It doesn't mean the cone-shaped hand roll. And one of the most popular things that's going on right now in New York and LA and up in the Pacific Northwest, Seattle and Portland, Miami, is a whole different type of temaki. I'll show you how to heat these up and do it properly. But for the sake of our illustration here, the temaki that is made when you create a small little treat of rice and fish that is then served open face by filling the little sheet of nori and holding it much in the same way that you would a taco. So, what is so great about that? Well, it means that for the home sushi aficionado, for the person who wants to do a kid's birthday party because your 13-year-old loves tuna hand rolls, you can actually do it at home without having to learn how to roll a cone, how to do an awful lot of different things that, quite frankly, are, I wouldn't call them Sushi 101. I would call them more like Sushi 102. So while you're practicing all your different types of cone rolling skills, why not start with something really easy and small? And the nice thing is, in cities all around America, I live in a landlocked city of Minneapolis. We have several spectacular seafood shops that are carrying fresh hamachi, yellowtail, fresh yellowtail tuna, right? This is not giant bluefin. We're not doing that. That would be like eating a tiger. This is a much smaller tuna. Sea urchin that came in from Santa Barbara. Salmon roe that some people love. Avocado, cucumber, scallions. Obviously a little bit of sesame seed or other type of furikake. Furikake is simply a rice seasoning. And that brings me to the most important thing that there is to say about sushi: the rice. Real sushi aficionados will tell you, while the fish has to be perfect, the most important feature, what makes or breaks a sushi bar experience, is the quality of the rice. So what we've done is we've bought a really cool varietal here, Yuki no Kakera, Snowflake. This comes from Central California. It is a blend of, it stands for Milky Queen. That's the translation. It's a cross between koshi hikari rice and sweet rice. And so it maintains its fluffy texture and it keeps the grains separate without making you buy some super expensive rice. I have 3 or 4 different types of Japanese short grain rice at my house. One of them is the one that I use when I'm doing sushi at home. And it's like $50 for the bag, and I am meticulous about it. I don't do I don't do the high-end ancient wizened sushi chef vibe of actually separating it grain by grain, which I have seen in more than one 3-star Michelin sushi bar that I've been lucky enough to spend some time in. But I do want to show you how beautifully this cooks up. Obviously, you have to put it out into this wooden bowl, and we have to season it. But I want to show you, look at how separate and beautiful those grains are. That is a very nice batch of rice that's not going to break the bank. So I just put a little bit, just what I need. The rest I leave on my counter. Rice will sit on my counter for 48 hours. I can put it in the refrigerator in a loosely closed bag so that some of it dries out and use it for fried rice if I want. But I season this with a mixture of sugar, rice wine vinegar, and mirin. Usually 1 part vinegar, 1 part sugar, and about 4 or 5 parts mirin. Some people like it a little sweeter or a little tartar. I always taste it so that it's to my liking. And for every 3 or 4 cups, I put about a tablespoon and mix it up.
Andrew, we got a lot of comments about how good your beard looks.
Oh, it does. Now look. Now hold on. Now hold on. I know I'm going to replace Idris Elba and Ryan, what's his name, as world's sexiest man any day now. Remind me to tell you my Star Magazine hunks and chunks story at some point. But here we now have cooled the rice, and thank you very much. I actually, the beer's gotten sloppy. I didn't brush it today, and I was in a place during the morning where I was wearing a mask, which kind of cuts into it, makes the whole thing sort of awkward. Anyway, once you mix your rice with your rice seasoning, absolutely perfect. When you're mixing it, you'll notice it kind of breaks apart and it loses its stickiness. But once it's been absorbed in there, you will notice that if I wanted to, and my hands aren't wet so it's going to stick, but the rice itself sticks together, right? So you still can use this for traditional sushi if that's your thing, right? All right. Oh. Whoop, that's warm. Forgot about my Eel Kabiaki. So in the freezer section at Asian markets and now at fish stores, I mean, here's the deal. If we have it in St. Paul, Minnesota, you have it where you are too. This is a single portion of imported Japanese sea eel, and it's actually brushed with the traditional kabiaki glaze, and you can just buy that. I mean, 2 pieces of this at a sushi bar are going to cost you $12 or $14. For the same amount, you can buy the whole thing, right? A couple of pieces of hamachi at a sushi bar, high quality, day boat caught, gorgeous hamachi, are going to cost you $14, $16 for a 2-piece portion at the sushi bar. That's probably what this entire, well, this whole fillet probably costs about $20. Obviously, this is a big piece of tuna. We're going to do some grilling with that later. I'm going to show you how I'm going to separate the belly piece out and chop that up. Sea urchin, this is stuff that is, we pay a super premium for it to eat out, right? But yet, if you really love to sort of gorge on it and you don't want to break the bank, do it yourself. It's really, really easy to do. So, all right, so we've seasoned the rice, okay? The next thing that we want to do is get our ingredients ready. So what's the first thing that I want to make sure that I have? Let's get, these are scallions that we've washed. We've already tipped them, but I'm just going to slice some of these in thin little rings because if you want to make a negi hamachi or a negi toro mixture, you need some scallions in there. And maybe, since these are beautiful young scallions, I'll use the ends for another purpose. You may want to split those, and when I say split, I mean actually split them so they're a little easier to eat and you don't have to put too much scallion in, and put them in that little delight we're going to make. Cut off the ends of our cucumbers. Use the tip of your knife. That's about the length of our, and let's get some threads of cucumber. Some nice cucumber crunch with seafood is so, so, so yummy, especially in Temaki. Put some of that right over there. Avocado we cut at the last minute. Obviously, you can do any furikake you want. This is just different sesame seeds that I threw out. You can use shiso leaf powder. There's all kinds of different things. The world is your oyster when it comes to us. And yes, you could even put cooked or raw oysters into this. Just make sure to drain them very, very well. Rice is still warm. I'm going to make a couple of different things for you. There's 8 things here to use. That gives us, what are the mathematics? 46,000 combinations. So we're not going to get a chance to do all of them, but we can certainly talk a lot about different combinations of this here. Really, the only mistake that you can make is overfilling them with rice. Just a small amount of rice in there is all that you need. Let's start simply with a little cucumber, a little scallion, oh, you know what? Let's do the combination on this one, which I love. I love sea urchin. This is big, big tongues of perfect Santa Barbara sea urchin.
Do you have a favorite fish for sushi or sashimi?
Well, it would be different for each, and yes, I love all the really, really, really fishy things. Very oily fish. That really sort of floats my boat. I do love the bellies of fish, especially the hamachi. People always ask about, do you want this with soy sauce or wasabi? Well, the point is, not everything gets both. If you like wasabi, by all means, go ahead. I dirtied my brush the other day, but if you want soy sauce, dress it yourself. That way your guests don't have to dip tamaki where everything would fall out, right?
Do you have a go-to sushi place?
I do. Sadly, none of them are here in the Twin Cities. That's not a knock against ones here. I'm going to a new place that's rather popular now. And I'm anxious to see if it measures up to all the hype. A new place called Billy Sushi. Most of the sushi bars in cities like ours tend to import from the same places. It's the same kind of frozen fish, and it doesn't thrill me that much. But I do eat at sushi bars all over the world because I love it. If I'm going to do it, I want to go all in. Obviously, I've posted a lot from my friend Nobu Matsuhisa's restaurants. I happen to love his place. I'm just taking this little piece right off
Where can you buy
the
a
skin.
taco stand like the one you're using?
Where can I buy what?
The taco stand that you're using.
Oh, this little thing? Oh, online. Amazon.com. And right now, during Amazon days, you can save, no, you can save a lot. Really, really simple to take the skin off of these, unless you're using this last little tail piece, because the skin will wrinkle up, so you have to do it with your fingers.
In your opinion, what is the most underrated sushi roll, sashimi, or nigiri?
The most underrated? Oh my gosh, I'm really, really into the simple stuff. I'd rather have a really, really beautiful piece of, madai, Japanese snapper, or sea bream is a big favorite of mine. Horse mackerel is a really big favorite of mine. This doesn't get any soy sauce, just a little scallion. Okay, let's chop a little bit of belly from the hamachi. Madeline, would you get me a little bowl? Thanks. We got this from our fish purveyor today. It was almost in rigor mortis. It was so fresh and so beautiful. And we only ordered it a day or two in advance. If you have a local go-to for buying fish, ask them. Tell them what you're doing. Tell them the purpose of it. And those fishmongers will be able to butcher it for you if you are not desiring to butcher it yourself, which not everybody is.
Someone says, happy early birthday. How will you be celebrating?
I will be at the beach with my friends. A lot of people have been asking me that recently. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. July 4th is my birthday.
What's an unusual food pairing that you love?
An unusual food pairing
Yeah.
that I love? Well, it certainly isn't chocolate and smoked salmon. Unusual. I think that's probably better for someone else to say what is unusual, and I can pass judgment on whether or not I think it is. I long since gave up trying to judge whether something is unusual, simply because I love so many different combinations, and once I fall in love with them, they cease to become unusual. Get that out of there. All right, so here you have three very different, and by the way, I would probably just put a few drops of soy down there just so people pick that flavor up. What if you want to put a little piece of avocado on there? Grab a different knife. I want to show people a little trick, especially if you're doing this at home. It is the easiest way also to prevent browning of the whole thing. I just twist the avocado, and then, whoops. I didn't even see where I cut that. All right, try that again. One, and just about, I don't know, a 1/4 inch away, and just pop with your knife that piece of avocado right out of the fruit. Right? So then, peeling is a breeze. These are nice ripe avocados. Easy to do it this way. So if you want to garnish something with avocado because somebody loves it, by all means, go right ahead, right? Super, super simple. All right. Which one do I want? Questions, comments, criticisms? What do you got, people?
Someone wants to know, what kind of kitchen gadget do you think everyone is sleeping on?
The kitchen gadget that I think everybody is sleeping on is probably a immersion circulator and a microwave. I think both of those things are wildly underutilized for different reasons. So let's talk about that for a second because it's a really, really, really great question. If you have an immersion circulator, you can cook anything that you want in what the French call sous vide. I'm going to do sea urchin, hamachi, and scallion. I'm going to drizzle just a little bit of soy on there, sprinkle it with my sesame seeds while I ponder that question. So you have two things. Immersion circulator. They used to be thousands and thousands of dollars. You can now buy an immersion circulator for $140 and the equipment to go along with it for another $50 or $60. A seal-a-meal machine. You don't have to get the fancy commercial one we have here. I have one at my house that's $100 and it comes with all the plastic. It pays for itself within a couple of months of using it because you don't waste anything, even if you're just sealing food to save it and preserve it. But when it comes to then cooking fish or meat, the level of perfection that you can achieve, or vegetables or sauces, is incredible. It's also set it and forget it, so that's great. The microwave is, I just got a Gaggenau microwave, and it has so many settings. I can now go as low as 25% of total heat for as long as I want. And if I put it in a small microwave-safe vented vessel, I can actually do green beans that you would not know I did not steam over water. So I think people are sleeping on those.
Which would you prefer, fishing in a pond, river, lake, or the ocean?
Not even close. Ocean. I grew up on one. It's something I plan on doing next weekend for my birthday too, dipping a line in the water.
We often see you like making really delicious, involved recipes, but what kinds of foods do you find yourself turning to on like a typical weekday?
Well, I like to show people that they can do stuff like this at home really easily, whatever kind of thing that they love. I think that's really, really important part of what we do as chefs. Try to inspire people and simplify food and demystify it. This is the kind of thing, I mean, for this little portion right here, you might, I don't know, spend $50 in a restaurant, but it cost us about $8 to put on the plate. So if you have 4 or 5 people over, you want to stand around the counter and everyone rolls their own, what a fun way to enjoy time with friends over the weekend. So I think that's really important. At home, I do not do this. I would imagine that tonight I'm probably going to go home and take a piece of fish and just saute it and squeeze some lemon over it and put it over some arugula and cut cherry tomatoes at my house. Last night for dinner, I've been trying to eat more plant-based food more often at home. So I actually had a piece of tofu that I took home from here the other night. We did a shoot here and I did a Korean tofu and kimchi stew. And I had a piece of tofu that I took home, and I always have kimchi at my house. And I had the bottom of the jar and I just put that on top and just put some sliced tomatoes around the sides because I love tomatoes. And I had that for dinner last night, late when I got home from the airport. So, or from here at work. So it's really simple stuff. Everyone knows me. I roast chickens all the time. It's very simple. Get it on the, I mean, it's like I'm playing, it's like I'm a contestant on Top Chef and it's a quick fire challenge. Getting dinner out for me as quickly as possible. Weekends, I cook. I'm a hobbyist cook. That is when I will make something. We were shooting something at my house the other day, and I gave Vicky and Madeline some lamb curry that I had made. And it probably took 24 hours to make that lamb curry. It's a very, very complex process, but the results that it yields are amazing. But I did that on a Saturday and Sunday while I was in and out of the house and had a lot of time. I'm doing the same thing you all are. You know, picking up the dry cleaning and walking the dog and then just trying to get something to eat on the table as quickly as possible.
What's your favorite ocean fish to grill?
Favorite ocean fish to grill? Oh my God, so many. Well, I'll tell you right now, it's always something recently that spurred my interest. I love big, firm, white-fleshed fish, but it has to have a good oil content in it. This hamachi would be something that would be fantastic. I would have left the skin on and not skinned it as I did for this presentation. But there's a new company, and you're going to be seeing it in seafood shops everywhere, that's raising a fish called a kahala. It's a type of, it's a jack crevalle, it's the varietal of jack crevalle. The problem with this fish is that for decades it had a bacteria in it that sometimes got people sick. They have now figured out a way, using deep water aquaculture, to sustainably raise these fish completely disease-free. And it is unbelievable. We got some here and flipped out about it. And, you know, we got 2 whole fish, and we filleted it, and we ate one here in our test kitchen, and we froze some, and I wound up grilling it one day this spring when it got a little warmer, and it was out of control fantastic.
Have you ever tried making your own kimchi?
Yes, as a matter of fact. Did we take a videotape of that, Madeline?
Yep.
We did. It's on our website then.
No, it's currently being edited.
Oh, it's currently being edited. We did make a tape of it.
Yeah, it's that batch that we're just starting, or getting edited again.
Ah, fantastic. Yeah, we've got the one that you and I made a long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Madeline and I made the greatest how-to video for kimchi, and it's being edited right now. And we did it the Korean grandmother style. Whole head, quartered, and smeared with fermented shrimp and rice paste, which is very, very important. If you want it to taste good, you got to do it the right way.
How do you feel about late night PB&Js?
Love them, have to avoid them, have to drop the weight. I have decided that starting with my 60th birthday, I had some minor health concerns, and I couldn't exercise as regularly as I wanted to this spring. And I play games where you keep score. I'm very competitive. I love keeping score. And so, you know, that's why I play a lot of tennis, I play a lot of disc golf, I'll run basketball with my friends, etc. And I couldn't do it. And I got the full clearance last week. And then I started, all of a sudden I'm traveling and doing stuff, so I'm doing more of it, and I've dropped a couple pounds. But my goal is to fit into my prom tux by this time next year, from high school. Not gonna happen. I was a serious addict back then. I weighed about 45 pounds. I was this big. I'm just kidding. I've never been that big. I wasn't that big when I was born. But I love being upholstered. I have no body image issues whatsoever. I don't think it's really hard, as someone who's always struggled with their weight, not to look in the mirror sometimes and say, ugh, right? But for me, it's not about how I look, because I've sort of gotten over that. It's about my health. So yeah, we're dropping down and gonna lose the pounds. And I look really better in that slingshot mankini that I plan on wearing to work.
Speaking of dazzling shows of splendor, Andrew, do you ever plan on doing a TikTok dance?
Oh my gosh, yes I am, and it's gonna come soon to my TikTok. We just started TikTok last week. Join me on TikTok. I think I'm Andrew.Zimmern. Is that correct, Vicki? I think we have 3 or 4 of them posted. We're posting a couple every week, and I've gotten some responses, and some people have told me that I have to do a dance. So I'm gonna try at some point.
What's happening right now?
I got moves like Jagger. Next question.
What's your website where all these recipes are posted?
All the recipes are at andrewzimmern.com. This is not a recipe, it is a technique. It is a technique. 1 part sugar, 1 part rice wine vinegar, 4 parts mirin for every 4 cups of very perfectly cooked Japanese short grain rice. And then this is just inspirational cooking. So today, I wish I had a recipe for you, but I don't. It is a technique other than the ratio for this.
Do you have a favorite canned garden salsa recipe?
Canned, or a one that you can?
I think that's what they mean.
Yes, I do not. It is the one thing that I make fresh all the time because I don't like ones that are too, well, I shouldn't say that. I do have a salsa that I make every year that I put up, and that is a cooked Tomatillo salsa because I can make sure that the acidity and the pH are correct so that it will preserve. We should put that online at some point this summer. We will. But basically what I do is I char 20 pounds, I do it under the broiler on sheet pans, of tomatillos, 5 pounds of onions, and about 20 jalapenos, and I cook it, and then when it's cooled, I puree it with cilantro and a little bit of fresh garlic and a little bit of roasted garlic, season it with lime juice, and then when the acidity is right on it and the pH is right on it, I put it up in jars, and it works really nicely.
Are there any knives that you recommend for beginners?
Well, yeah, I mean, Shun has a ton of knives and in many, many, many different price verticals. So whether you're a beginner on a budget or a beginner that wants to splurge a little bit, go ahead and do it. It's hard to see because I've used two of the knives that are here, and these are the wrong scissors in there. But this is a 6-piece Shun set with the blonde ash handles that I absolutely love. It doesn't work in every kitchen. I mean, if you have a bright red kitchen, well, maybe that would work. But you have a steel, and you get 4 knives, small paring and petty knives, and the 2 chef's knives. It's really, really wonderful, and it's a 5-piece set that comes in its own block. I think it's great. I will say, knives are your tools, right? So the one place that I wouldn't go to a big box store and buy something that's on sale is with knives. That being said, big box stores often buy Shuns and lots of other brands from Japan and Germany and Switzerland and the United States and put them on sale. The one thing to avoid, and I don't even think we have them, but is things like the ginsu, right? The made-on-TV stuff. It's whippy, and it is sharp like a razor blade and has micro serration on it, so it doesn't dull out. You can cut yourself very badly with a whippy, micro serrated knife, so please don't buy them.
Have you ever grown your own herbs?
All the time.
Do you use beard oil?
I do not use beard oil. I use a beard, I moisturize, then I use a beard wax, and if I'm on TV and doing something, I'll put a little hold spray on it.
What's your favorite hot sauce?
We just put something up on TikTok about that. Go check it out, Andrew.Zimmern. We did a great reveal of my 2, the ones that are, I mean, look, day to day, everyone knows I'm a broken record. I use Crystal hot sauce in everything, in all my recipes. It's on the table in my house at meals. If someone wants hot sauce, we have Crystal in our house. We also have about 30 other hot sauces that I love. Of those 30, there are 2 I go to more often and run out of more often than anything else. And we put it on TikTok. Family favorites. Can you dig it?
How do you keep water from boiling over?
Use less of it?
Fair.
Yeah.
What's your favorite animal?
My favorite animal? My dog Luca. Okay, now you people are getting goofy. Last question.
Let's see.
What are you infusing behind you?
Oh, Madeline. I am not. Well, technically we are. This is a very good question. So next week we're doing a special July 4th thing, and one of the things that I'm going to teach you about is infusing rum, and we've put pineapple in here. Now, what we did was we cut a pineapple. We used the bottom and the sides. We're going to filter it, so if any particulate comes in, by the way, we washed it and scrubbed it really well, so there's no dirt on there. Then we had a little room. We put a couple slices in. We ate the other one, sort of to pretend as if we had some pineapple that was already starting to get a little old in the fridge, but we also don't want to throw away our scraps. Florida Caña, our sponsor, is the most sustainable rum on the planet. They go to great lengths to do an awful lot of work in that area. We'll talk more about it next week. You can go to their website and check it out. There's information on ours about what they do with planting trees, because they're growing sugarcane, growing it, cutting it down, growing it and cutting it down. So they wanted to make sure to offset their carbon footprint, and so they have this incredible plant-to-tree program. But we're going to make some cocktails with pineapple-infused rum, which are going to be delicious. I think you're going to really love them. And we're going to do an incredible recipe next week that you're going to want to make for the holiday weekend. So thank you, Madeline. What a great question. Yes, I'm now on TikTok, Andrew.Zimmern. Everything, recipes, no paywall, AndrewZimmern.com. If you are not signed up for our newsletter at AndrewZimmern.com, please do so. We do not sell your info. We don't give it away to anybody. And make sure to subscribe on YouTube. If you haven't, give us a favor. We're trying to grow this thing, right? So that we can do more of it and, upgrade equipment, do all that other stuff. I'm not pleading poverty. I'm just saying, hey, help a brother out. Tell all your friends about this. Get them to subscribe to our TikTok or our YouTube. What else do we have? Anything?
You have a Twitter and an Instagram?
Oh, I sure do. And all of that information is at AndrewZimmern.com. People of America, love you very much. We'll see you next week. Be kind to each other. World needs more of it. Thank you.